Hi, I'm Elisa. I'm here with Joel, and we're with Fractional HR Experts and Fractional Plus. We're going to be talking about a benefits conversations and how to accelerate your plan with Multicare Benefits. Joel, can I introduce you, or do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Joel Burns. I am a partner at Multicare Benefits. We are focused mostly on the Canadian benefits and group retirement landscape. We've been
Mhm.
around 25 years. Personally, not been doing it that long, but we've even worked together in the benefits space for almost a decade together. So
Yeah.
happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to get to some fun questions, spontaneous questions, and very serious ones. Maybe you can tell everybody what, or I guess talk a little bit about the dinners we've gone on. I know you have some funny dinner stories, so feel free to share because it's kind of like a podcast where we get real as well.
Fair. So I guess as part of kind of just working with a number of different character types, as well as different industries, different companies around the city and across the country, we try to make things more interesting than just talking about group benefits and retirement. Because as we
Mhm.
know, not the most exciting of topics at times, but some of the dinners end up having some wine and things involved. And often that can lead to some pretty interesting conversations with people that are mostly very professional,
Mhm.
mostly in HR in their
Yes.
day to day. Specifically, I don't want to go too far into it, but
That's fair. We don't have to talk to, or sorry, we don't have to talk about it too much. But he has brought me out for quite a few oysters, and we did have a competition. And I will maybe have you
yeah.
explain what
Okay,
happened.
well, I guess I can use you as the one example that I have seen one of my former clients take down 100 oysters at the catch downtown Toronto. I didn't think that was possible. I might have fallen off after about 15 myself. So very impressive, I will say.
Yeah, I think it was at
And
the Chase, wasn't
there
it? We
was
went
the
to the
chase.
Chase.
That's
It
right.
was a big bill that day.
it was it was a very fun, long evening after enduring that much protein.
Mhm.
But yes, though, as one example of many,
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely. And we've done some like a lot of really cool events too. We've gone to the Blue Jays game. We've done some other things as well. We also open it up to our whole team. So we've offered the tickets up. I think you've invited us a few times to the spa, and we gave it to our employees to go.
Yeah,
So
we try to get people involved in understanding through education sessions.
mhm.
And, oftentimes because of the subject matter, if it's a younger crowd, for example, the only way to get them to pay attention is to do some kind of giveaway for something that they actually would appreciate,
Absolutely.
aside from maybe, bringing a massage therapist to on site or something to that effect, to get people to really understand what the value of the offering is. And, these plans are expensive, increasingly so,
Mhm.
and so we try to create engagement through different fun mechanisms
That's
like that.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, of
Maybe you
course.
could tell us a little bit about Multicare, what they do, who founded it, and why Multicare.
Yeah, good question. So Multicare has been around for about 25 years, founded by our still partner, Adam Lewis.
Mhm.
He's a former hockey player. It seems that there's a lot of them in the insurance space these days, actually, and mainly focused on the group benefits piece. About 3 years ago, we actually got purchased by Stonebridge Insurance out of Ancaster, a monster general insurer,
Mhm.
and in the process brought on another gentleman, Scott Studley, to head up our retirement team and take over as our managing partner. So the evolution of Multicare is relatively, I would say it's in its regrowth stage,
Mhm.
but we're adding a ton of new tools, tech, a number of bodies. It seems like there's new
Very cool.
faces every week, and on account of it, the ride has been very fun.
That's amazing. What's the team size right now?
We're about 40 on specifically at Multicare, but we are just the benefits and retirement division of Stonebridge, which would be 1,500 across Canada.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what about your role? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and your
Yeah.
specific role?
Yeah. So I still do client facing, client management, consulting work,
Mhm.
but also kind of oversee our new business development team, a bunch of young, very fun, cool, I would say cool. I would say that they remind me of myself, but maybe that's, bleeding into it a little bit. I definitely am taking more of a corporate macro perspective these days, but
Yeah.
still enjoy being in the trenches, still enjoy doing the work. And so
Mhm.
try to stay in that space as much as I can.
Sounds good. And maybe we can talk a little bit about our process of working together. And
Yeah.
I think it hasn't shifted too much from when we were internal to what we're doing now. So what we would essentially do for a company is we go in, do a benefits audit,
Yeah.
have an understanding of their current plan, what they're doing, how they're doing it, survey the employees and see maybe what's missing, what they love, what they don't love. Then we would engage a benefits broker like Joel, and we would potentially come up with a brand new plan and go to market and see what we can get.
Yeah.
So can you tell them a little bit more about, how those phases are and what that solution may look like?
Yeah, and it is a process that if you've been in HR for some time, you might be familiar with. But we do try to take a more holistic approach to it. Considering the people, the finances, as well as kind of a longer term
Mhm.
goal of having these plans. If we want them to be a little bit more flexible to suit a broader demographic, or if we're really just goal oriented on specific tasks, whether it's saving money, whether it's benchmarking the plan against peer groups. There's a number of different ways that we
Mhm.
approach it, and it's mostly based on short and longer term goals of the
Okay,
organization.
perfect. And then what does it cost the organization? So if they were to engage you, can you talk about like your contingency and the costs involved? Is
Yeah.
there a cost?
There is no cost to engage with us. We're only ever going to make money, and it is paid not by the organizations, but by the insurance carriers that we work with to represent your plans.
Mhm.
And we only make that money if we're successful in earning the business. So
Mhm.
you rest assured that we try our ass off to
Yeah,
to
that's
earn
fair.
that business.
Absolutely. And how about if you're thinking about having a new plan, you're not happy with your current plan, like when would be the execution? So usually people are signed into a contract. Is there ever a way out of a contract, or when could someone engage you to potentially like switch the different terms,
Yeah.
if that's even possible?
Very good question. And actually, it's a common misconception in this space that is that you are on a renewal term that is usually annualized.
Mhm.
The reality of it is, like all insurance with your home and auto or whatever, if you stop paying the bill one month, you're not going to have insurance the next. So, similarly, if you were to give notice of 30 days,
Mhm.
oftentimes that's the number we work with. You are able to cancel a policy at any time and change providers, change brokers, do whatever you like.
Mhm.
Commonly, there's no terms of lock in
Okay,
that
that's
regard.
interesting. So I knew that before, but I think that most of our audience wouldn't, and
Yeah,
including our CEOs and our CFOs trying to design their own plans.
yeah,
Maybe we can get into like a little bit about the well-being side of a plan, because insurance can seem a little bit like, I guess, overwhelming in all the different topics. If you can talk a little bit about like a health spending account and the things that people might actually love to see in an insurance plan, that would be great.
yeah. So I'd say traditionally plans have been a little bit more structured,
Mhm.
and maybe the education of those plans isn't commonly readily available or pushed. So a lot of people don't even know what they have.
Yeah.
That said, that structured kind of traditional program doesn't necessarily suit like the newer, the younger demographic of the workforce.
Mhm.
Commonly, they'll only go to the dentist, once, twice a year, and maybe use some massage from that
Mhm.
bucket of it's a multitude of different available items. But the emergence of healthcare and wellness spending accounts has allowed more flexibility
Mhm.
and a little bit more freedom of choice in how you're using and allocating money to your health and your wellness, whether it's mental health or physical health, financial health. There's
Mhm.
a number of different measures of health these
Okay,
days
no,
as
that sounds
well.
good. Do you have an example of something that is maybe your favorite benefit that you've seen applied at an organization getting creative and innovative?
Yeah, I'd say that, it was a shame that the CRA took like gym memberships and physical sporting equipment and, like, for example, healthy active living equipment away from eligibility of, tax benefits. And so having these wellness accounts and allowing companies to sponsor and promote healthy active living again, I
Mhm.
think is like a big step towards helping your employees achieve, health right?
Mhm.
And mental and physical health, because those are paired, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think we can also talk a little bit about the data that we receive. Everything is completely confidential from the end when we're doing like an HR report, but it gives us some important data around like mental well-being, physical well-being of what's going on within the organization, depending on the tiltration of size. So if you're like too small of a company, we don't really receive anything. Can
Yeah,
you kind of like, give me examples of like those types of times where we can look at some data and be like, oh my gosh, maybe we need to apply something else here?
fair.
And where that benefit becomes in that reporting structure becomes like beneficial for the organization.
Yeah, so there are size bandings, and it's usually based on membership count.
Mhm.
Usually, like the first one would be 10 people, 25, 50,
Yeah.
and then 100. And really, the level of reporting is governed by privacy legislation. So, what we want to be mindful of is not, necessarily allowing executive level or even
Yeah.
HR or whoever to know if there's one expensive medication flowing through a plan that's driving costs for the whole plan, who they could attribute that cost to.
Yeah.
And apparently, some time ago, there actually were names that came with
Oh,
drug
wow.
identification listings. Not anymore,
Okay, that's
thankfully,
good.
because decisions can be made on those basis, and it's not good for anyone, right?
Yeah.
Specifically the employees. Um, that said, we definitely, with the emergence of more expensive and more
Mhm.
common expensive medications,
Mhm.
things like drug deferral programs and some other things that allow you to minimize your exposure to expensive financial,
Yeah.
elements of these plans are important to review. And
Absolutely.
I statistically, if you have more than 25 people at your organization, one of them will be taking a high cost specialty medication.
Mhm.
If you have one of those, and we are able to assist you in finding an alternative to source the subsidy of that,
Mhm.
I mean, that's a win for everyone, including the
Absolutely.
company, right?
Yes, it is. I think it's a really good win for the company. And then I guess just kind of thinking about the reporting and what we've done with the information, like sometimes we learn lots of people are on fertility medication, and we create more fertility programs. We talk about like overall menopause, perimenopause. If there's a lot of people on anti-anxiety medication and depression, we launch different programs within the organization to help with wellness and well-being as well.
Yeah,
Do you have
100%.
an example of anything that maybe we've done together or you've seen in another company?
Yeah, and you know what? Oftentimes we can leverage resources that are already available,
Mhm.
or take little bits of kind of the creative minds of bigger companies, for
Yep.
example, and we can promote it monthly, quarterly.
Mhm.
If it's something that's near and dear to the executive team, even focus on different priority campaigns, right?
Yep.
So whether that's like mental health awareness
Yes.
or like maybe cancer awareness, or if it's a big one right now is diabetes, right? And
Yes.
or drugs that maybe were intended for diabetes,
Mhm.
and weight loss affiliation. So some of these things, bringing a certain level of education to your staff can be
Mhm.
immensely valuable, if it's something that you choose to prioritize, right?
Absolutely. I was thinking we could do some like rapid fire questions and
Sure.
just like you can send some to me, I can send some to you.
Okay.
Um, I'm happy to have like, the next time the audience can also ask them some questions. So we can do some like maybe some video responses if people just
Yeah,
have
no
like
problem.
curiosity questions. But I guess like my question for you is why benefits? Why did you get into benefits? How did it happen? You've been in this career for a really long time. So
Yeah, good
give us your
question.
story.
Yeah. So funny enough, I was still pretty young when I got into it, but it was the company that I joined initially. Stepping into this space was young. It was a bit of a boiler room. It was very internally competitive,
Mhm.
and it kind of drove, it drove a lot of, well, character development, but also, you had to develop some tough skin pretty quickly. It was a big test. I really enjoyed coming out of that,
Mhm.
with a positive experience, as a lot didn't. But it kind of, set on a trajectory to really enjoy and kind of carve out space in
Yeah.
this industry, and it's been a wild ride.
That's amazing. Feel free to ask me one. Do you have one?
Yeah. So from HR specifically, I think we met when you may have been even an HR manager.
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
was a staff low as a director.
yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, director of HR.
Director of HR to
Mm.
start, to fractional. How's that transition gone for you?
It's been very interesting. So, the majority of my career has actually been internal. So, I've had about 17 or 18 years internally developing my career. I've never fully been HR. I've been employment branding, I've been talent executive, I've done talent enablement, I've done COO work. I just help teams perform. So, I was kind of that doer or Swiss Army knife was sent into different teams and to help elevate the team. So, I've done product cultures, I've worked with engineers building engineering cultures, and you do that for a really long time, you learn a lot. So the switch into doing something a little bit different was both like a really great switch. I'm really happy right now. I get to design my days. I get to have cool conversations and record them with like a recording team. And I just love what I do. So I think for me, the switch has been something that is needed, probably something I always did because I always had issues staying at companies longer than 2 years, 2.5 years. I have ADHD and high functioning ADHD, so I just get bored. And I kind of worked fractionally before even fractional was a thing because I always told leaders when they headhunted me, like, listen, I will build everything out probably 2 to 3 times faster than everyone else. I'll give you audits, we'll do this, I'll make sure all your goals are met. And then at some point, I want to exit, but I would like to still like maintain relationships. So that was kind of my disclaimer with a lot of leaders. And it was my, I don't necessarily want to be here forever. And some people said no to me. Other people were like, oh my gosh, yes. And I got consistently hired through doing that. And then always hired in my junior team or senior team member or trained someone up, leveled them up, and then kind of left and then still coached them. So I came up with this idea of like people accelerator, which is like sending someone junior in, having someone very senior teach them, coach them, and mentor them, upskill them, and then still have like, working directly with the senior leadership team when it comes to like policies, terminations, any of the big stuff that the junior or the mid manager can't necessarily that can't necessarily complete. And then with that, you learn a lot, right? So I learn, they learn, everybody's happy, and it's at a cheaper rate. So
Totally.
I think it was a very natural thing to happen and to do. Stepping into more of like a COO, C-suite, CEO role has been interesting. I didn't think I wanted to be that person because I didn't think I was that person.
Sure.
And I'm still developing that because I'm interim right now. I'm deciding what to do because I want to be happy. So I might hire someone who's going to be our CEO for one brand and then I'll oversee the next, or I might just be like working fractionally and helping the company grow and hiring the leaders that are needed. So yeah.
That's exciting.
All right, question for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing doing outside of work?
Well, it's Masters weekend, so I'm going to say that golf is high on the list.
Mm-hmm.
We just wrapped up ski season. That would be another one that's the top three for sure. And it seems like the other ones are kind of, leaning into my my seasoned/senior years. As I'm aging, I'm finding baseball and pickleball and all of these other sports that I used to tease my dad for playing very enjoyable. So
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we have a lot of pickleball rackets, so maybe we can invite a bunch of HR leaders
that would
and
be
some
a fun
founders
event.
to go do like a really cool
Little
pickleball event
tournament.
together. Yeah, why not? We
Yeah,
do like
right.
a whole weekend or something and get people to be competitive. So that'd be kind of something cool we can do together.
Anything to get people up and active, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap all of this up, anything that you want to state as like a last statement for about your company or who you are or how you do business?
Just that I look forward to working with Fractional HR. I know that I've met a number of the people that you've already brought in, had the pleasure of working with a few of them, and really solid team. So I wish you guys all the best and
Thank
continued
you.
success.
Yeah, absolutely. Our relationship together and the way that we work, I think, is going to be really successful in the near future. So we design very well, and we can come up with some really cool benefit plans that are innovative, creative, and people first.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and aligned with culture, which is amazing. So I'm
I
excited
look
for
forward to it.
yeah. Let's see what happens in the next couple of years.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Okay, thanks, guys.
That was fun.